Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are discussing a trend that you guys have noticed as we've been going through the contents of Update 14.3. Now, Update 14.3, what are the big ticket items in this update? Meaning, what new ships were added in? Because sure, this event and that event may be going on, but most of us really care about the ships, right? So the new ships introduced in Update 14.3 were the Blucher and the Gambia as part of the Blucher Dockyard event, the Valparaiso and the Suzuya as part of the Golden Month event. Well, let's take a little bit closer look at those ships, shall we? So the Blucher and the Gambia. The Gambia is yet another Fiji-class light cruiser. The Blucher is the fifth and final Hipper-class heavy cruiser that we've had in the game. We've got the Hipper, the Prince Eugen, the Talon, and the Vesser, I believe was the converted Hipper. Alright, so that's the fifth Hipper hull we've gotten in game. The Valparaiso is a Vanguard on absolute crack, and then the Suzuya is an up-tiered supercharged Mogami. Now, if you can't put two and two together, all of these new ships that were introduced in this update are copy-paste ships with some tweaks here and there to their stats. Now, if we take a look back, we can take a look at the previous update, and, well, it's more of the same. I mean, heck, the last tech line we got, which was the Dutch light cruisers, it's quite literally the same there too. Copy-paste, a couple of changes here and there to some stats, and, some turrets might be swapped around, and there's some minor changes to the models, but, yeah, it's more copy and paste. You can take a look back, too, at, like, the Pan American battleships. Believe it or not, it's mostly copy and paste between some British battlecruiser hulls, some superstructure tweaks here and there, and some different turrets thrown on those hulls, but it's more of the same. And this is a trend that has been going on for quite some time with Warships. I mean, heck, if you look back at really most of the new ships and content that we've been getting in the past couple of years, it's really just been copy and paste, maybe some minor model changes and some tweaks to the stats. That's worrying for a lot of players because it's like, oh dang, well, we're not really getting anything new. And if we take a look at other in-game items, shall we say, like maps. When was the last time we got a new map? It's actually coming upon 3 years since we've gotten a single new map in-game. And if you think about it too, before then, we didn't really get a whole lot of new maps before that point either. We've just been in this kind of drought of new maps since then. Furthermore, if you look at how Wargaming has been introducing new ships into this game, particularly new premium ships, you also notice a trend there too. Like the Valparaiso and the Suzuya, they were originally going to be introduced in another Golden Wishing Wharf event this month, but community backlash led to them being removed from that gambling event, being thrown into, well, a multi-layered container system with the Daruma containers, or you can buy them outright in the premium shop for a whopping $137 a pop, which is almost double what a normally priced tier 9 premium cost. So when you take a step back and you look at all of that, you see the recycling of assets, you see a lack of new maps, which are rough to monetize, right? And you see what appears to be a rapid increase in the monetization efforts that Wargaming has been putting forth in Warships. It's easy to see how many players come to the conclusion of, well, it looks like they're done with this game, they're just recycling assets, and they're just trying to milk it for what it's worth before the lights eventually go out. It's very easy to see how many players come to that conclusion. But is that really what's happening? Well, there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes than what your average Joe might actually know. So let's talk about the copy-paste ships first, shall we? So if you look back at, well, the past couple of years, it's been pretty much consistently copy-paste ships with, again, some slight tweaks here and there to the ship's model and the ship's in-game stats. I mean, the Spanish cruisers, the Dutch light cruisers, the Pan American battleships. If we want to talk about not tech line ships, premium ships. the Rodney, the Johnston, Valparaiso, the Suzuya. We even have a premium Zal in the works too that's more torpedo focused than gun focused, and I can keep going on and on and on and on. There's no shortage of ships that are just completely recycled models. They're kit bashed models. They might have the turrets from one nation rather than their indigenously produced turrets like the Valparaiso. Instead of having her British, what were they, 4-inch secondary guns, you get the American dual-mounted 5-inch guns, and then they just tweak her stats, and off she goes. So that's definitely been the case here with wargaming recently. So the big question is, well, why? Well, there's a theory that Lesta got the art department in the Wargaming Lesta divorce, which when you look at what Lesta's doing, it's a little bit new models, more new models than not with them, but it is still a lot of kit bashing. By new models, I mean like they'll develop like a new turret or something, or a slightly different superstructure rather than completely kit bashing like what Wargaming's doing. So they haven't really been producing entirely new ship models either, with the exception of like there's Surcouf and one or two things every now and then, but they are definitely still kit bashing, just like Wargaming is too. So don't let that fool you. Now, the other thing is that, well, if you take a look at what we have in-game at the moment, when it comes to the main players of mid-20th century naval combat, so, you know, like right before World War II to right after World War II, they're all in-game and have exceptionally well fleshed out tech lines and premium ships to back them up. I mean, the U.S. Navy, the Royal Navy, the Kriegsmarine, the Imperial Japanese Navy, the Italian Navy, and even the Soviet Navy, they're all very well fleshed out in-game and have no shortage of premium ships to back them up too. For the most part, just about every class is represented in game at the moment. I mean, there are some, you know, one-off cruisers or light cruisers or destroyers here and there that aren't in game just yet, but for the most part, I'm willing to bet like 85 to 90% of those ships of that era are in game in some way, shape, or form. So the question is, well, what do you want them to do at this point? Do you want them to make stuff up? Which Wargaming's been known to do. I mean, look at the Illinois, right? And many other things in game, right? But what happens when Wargaming makes stuff up? Oh, these paper ships, these fake ships that Wargaming's making up. Okay, so they play it safer and they'd start introducing, well, new ships in the forms of another ship of the same class, and all these copy-paste ships, why can't they make anything new? A really good example of that exact scenario, by the way, was when Wargaming released the Commonwealth Cruisers, a line that we've been asking for years. They finally got around to making them and releasing them, and yeah, they were copy and paste ships, because that's what happened in real life. These Commonwealth nations got these ships from the Royal Navy. The Royal Navy isn't going to go and make an entirely new class for Australia. They're going to say, no, here's a Fiji. Have fun, right? So when these ships got released, people were like, oh, these are just copy and paste ships. That's what happened in real life. So there's always that catch-22. You can make new ships that are paper because you're running out of real steel ships to introduce, and people are going to complain about that. You can introduce real steel ships that, I mean, you're running out of other classes to introduce in games, so you make some, you know, some sister ships and such and tweak them here and there to give them their own unique gameplay style, and people complain about that too. And then that is usually followed by someone stating that Lesta got the art department during the divorce, Wargaming just got some skeleton team that can barely kick bash ships together, and Wargaming is fine with like setting World of Warships on cruise control, introducing all these hyper monetized events to strip us of our money, so forth and so on, rather than putting in the time, money, and effort into rebuilding the art department and introducing new actual models to the game. Well, let's take a look at some more recent development, shall we? So recently, we have actually started to receive new models. The SEAL, for example, the Tier 10 British Special Submarine. I know, submarine bad, but the SEAL was an entirely new model. It's the Grampus-class mine-laying submarine, and to my knowledge, it did not exist in the game in any way, shape, or form before it was introduced as, well, its own premium ship. Not like they took the Thrasher, made some modeling changes, and introduced it as the SEAL. It's a completely new model. It's pretty cool. It's a submarine, yes, but hey, new model. And then take a look at the hull. The hull is, yes, it's a Forrest Sherman, yes. But we got some new turret models there. We got the single-mounted destroyer 203mm gun turrets that the Navy tried out on the hull in real life. Okay, got some new turret models there. Cool. And now look at the new upcoming U.S. destroyer split line. These ships have, well, the higher tier ones do at least, they have new turret models, and they have new hull models, actually. They're not the Forrest Sherman hulls like I thought. The hulls are actually completely new. So, we're getting there. And why are we getting there? Well, because turns out, if you actually go look at Wargaming's website, they are actively hiring new artists for Warships, for the art team. And they're hiring a new art director as well. So this isn't what you would obviously be doing if you're just kind of putting the game on cruise control and continuing as is. Why in the world would you be hiring more 3D artists and a new art director if you're just going to coast with what you got right now and then just milk the game for all of its money? So this seems to indicate to me that this slow trickle of new models will hopefully become a more steady stream in the future as Wargaming fills in these holes in their art department. Now, of course, this doesn't excuse by any case the increased monetization that we've been seeing happening in the game with like the Admiral bundles and the Daruma containers and such. So that is, in my opinion, just, well, Wargaming being Wargaming and wanting to, of course, get what money they can out of the player base. I mean, at the end of the day, the game does, of course, need money to operate. That's understandable, but in my opinion, they've been a little bit too egregious with some of the decisions they've made here recently with how they've been introducing these new ships and such. So guys, that's my 2 cents on the whole copy-paste smorgasbord we've been having here in the game for the past couple of years. What do you guys think with these new listings? Do you guys think that we are going to be getting more new models in the future and hopefully some new ships that we don't have in game, with the few that we don't have in game at this point? And what ships would you like to see, new ships would you like to see come to the game in some form in the future? Let me know all that good stuff in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.